I hope you can hear me. I'm just gonna wait for a couple of minutes. Yeah, I'm in my pajama because I'm really cold. And also I'm not doing anything, so whatever. Okay, I'll need to put my glasses on because I'm gonna be looking at my computer. And I think I need to draw my curtains, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see how it goes anyway. Okay, let me just put this phone here for a while. Is it going to stay? Yeah. So anyway, how is everyone? It's been quite a while again. I told you in my previous life that I'm not doing this regularly anymore. But there are some things, going back to Madeleine McCann again. I mean, I've seen the headlines recently. Well, not only recently, but I'm guessing since earlier this year, perhaps at the beginning of the year, January or so. And I was thinking to myself, I was asking myself, why is Madeleine McCann again in the media, in the headlines? Because lately, for the last few months, it's like everywhere you look, the Sun, the Mirror, the Daily Mirror, obviously all these British media outlets, also on the news, on social media, it's Madeleine McCann, new update, new this, new that. And I started questioning, and I was thinking to myself, okay, what are they really after? So I found some stuff and I found some news articles, and I want to go through them with you by date because I think I know what was going on there. So, do you remember at the beginning of this year, it was around, perhaps it started in January or maybe February, where there was this Polish girl, the 21-year-old girl, who said that she's Madeleine McCann. And it was all over the news, it was all over the place, and it just exploded. Headline over headline, TikTok, Facebook, newspapers, again, TV. So basically, she was just plastered everywhere. And I found that quite interesting because there were so many other young women over the years who said that they are Madeleine McCann, that they believe they are Madeleine McCann, yet there was barely any attention given to them. So this particular instance seemed very suspicious to me. And I found some news articles. Well, if you go back, you will find loads of them. But one of the ones which I've read that purely because I was checking the date and I wanted that to be more towards the beginning of the year, just so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So one of the articles was published on 16th of March, and I'm going to read it to you. Obviously, this is not the first one where the reference to the Polish girl is mentioned, but this is just one of them because I just wanted to kind of show you the dates, you know. Okay, let's see. Where is it? I'm gonna find it and read it to you and also show you on the screen. I have quite a few tabs open here, so just bear with me a second. Right, this is one of them, okay. I think I can, yeah, I can do that. I can flip the screen so we can read it together. Okay, so, yeah, my computer screen is very dusty, sorry. Girl claiming to be Madeleine McCann finally has a family after mystery trip. So this article was actually published, can you see? It was published on 16th of March at 12:53, updated on 16th of March at 14:41. Right, so this is Julia Wendell. I'm guessing that since if you have been following this case, you've probably already heard of her. Julia Wendell, who claims to be the grown-up Madeleine McCann. So at that time, she was currently in the United States after taking a secret mystery trip with the psychic medium Dr. Fia Johansson. I think we already know the story with this. So according to this article, the 21-year-old was currently living in a safe house in the US. Apparently, she was the center of a media storm and she was even receiving death threats. And it says here that the young woman gained over 1 million followers on social media after she posted evidence to claim she was the missing Madeleine. Dr. Johansson is a self-professed medium and private detective investigating Julia's claims. So basically, this girl, Julia, she said that she thinks she's Madeleine McCann. Okay, so this is one of the articles. Now, bear in mind that this was at the beginning of this year, right? So the article which I read to you and I showed you is from the 16th of March of this year. Now, we already know, if you've been following it, that there was a DNA which was done on Julia to see if she's Madeleine McCann, and DNA turned out negative, that she's not Madeleine McCann, and so on and so forth. I think you already know the story with that. So that's that. At first, her and this private detective, they got along really well, according to a lot of articles that I've read. And now, because the results were negative, apparently this girl, Julia, kind of turned against the private investigator, saying that she didn't receive enough help and so on and so forth. So anyway, she's not Madeleine McCann, right? DNA proved that. So moving on to the next point that I want to make. Again, bear in mind, this was in March. Then we moved towards the end of March, and I found another article from the 27th of March of this year, which kind of answered my question in my head. Why is this girl all of a sudden all over the place in the media, all over the world? So basically, she blew up all over the world, right? And then I've read another article from the end of March, where there was a discussion that the McCanns, they have requested extra funding for the Madeleine McCann investigation, okay? Which to me seemed very coincidental. Now, I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just giving my views and my opinions because I don't want to have any kind of legal issues, but it's kind of too much of a coincidence, right? Because for the previous few months before the end of March, where there was a request for funding, it was fairly quiet, apart from some articles with Christian Brueckner and stuff like that. But we will get to Christian Brueckner as well. So I'm thinking that perhaps the media sensation around Madeleine McCann and the girl who she claimed to be Madeleine McCann started because they were looking into making another request for funding. So I'm going to show you another article which I found from the 27th of March. If you bear with me for a few seconds so I can find the tab. There you go. Okay. Flipping the screen again. So this article is from 27th of March 2023, updated on 6th of April 2023 from lbc.co.uk. Okay. The title is Madeleine McCann Cops set to get £300,000 funding boost, but eyebrows raised in time of squeezed budgets. So far, £30 million have been spent on her case, but a special grant for £302,000 is now likely to be approved by the Home Office, The Sun reported. A source close to the investigation said this is excellent news. Maddie's parents, Kate and Jerry, will be delighted. It gives fresh hope. The Home Office said it had received the funding application, adding, it will be considered as usual in line with our special grant process. And it comes as Polish woman Julia Wendell continues to claim to be Madeleine. So at that point in time, Miss Wendell is awaiting DNA tests that could confirm her identity, though it has already been determined by a facial recognition software company that this is practically impossible. So basically, this is one of the very many articles which are out there, just the one, which to me seems very coincidental that they are requesting funding after this girl was all over the news, all over the media, right? I'm not saying anything, you know, you can draw your own conclusions, but I'm finding the dates a bit weird, you know? So what do you guys think? Did you think of it this way? Now, one other thing, I actually made some notes on in my notebook because, like I said previously, I have some memory issues and I can't really remember everything, and I have to write it down so I don't forget the links that I made. Okay, so moving on to May. So we've covered March. So in March, we have this Polish young woman claiming to be Madeleine McCann. Then at the end of March, the request for funding. And then also at the same time, the young woman, she was waiting the DNA results, right? Now, moving on to May. It kind of happens in sequence, doesn't it? Like one after another. And sometimes, and it seems like it's too much of a coincidence to, you know, just be a coincidence. Okay, May. The month of May. Again, it's been all over the news with the dam search in Portugal. Now, we already know that this dam has been searched previously and nothing was found. Now the dam was searched again and they've extended the search area. As far as I know, the search was conducted by the Portuguese authorities. However, it was by the request of the German authorities. So another article which I found in May, I'm going to show you in a second, points out at the search. And yeah, and then I'm going to carry on in a second with the rest. So let's jump onto the article. Okay. The very first one, I'm going to look at Reuters from 23rd of May, 2023. Portuguese police will on Tuesday search a reservoir inland from where British 3-year-old Madeleine McCann disappeared, in the first formal development in the case in Portugal in several years. A fire brigade spokesperson said police were preparing to start searches on Tuesday at a dam in the southern region of Algarve, about 50 kilometers inland from a beach resort, where Madeleine went missing. Police erected two tents beside the dam on Monday. A source familiar with the investigation told Reuters the operation in Silves municipality was being carried out at the request of German authorities, who last year formally identified German man Christian Brueckner as an official suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. German officials had no immediate comment. Portugal's investigative judicial police in charge of the operation declined to comment. So what do we think of this? Hey, Robert. Yeah, you lost me for a while because I haven't been doing this kind of videos for quite some time. So, yeah. Okay, so this would be May. Now, so this would be May that they searched the dam and the surrounding area, the Portuguese police at the request of the German authorities. And then again, it went all over the news, all over the place, that they found vital evidence, vital clue, that they found this, they found that, just by the end of it to say that there was absolutely nothing relevant to the Madeleine McCann investigation. Yeah, that's more or less, the full story. So another article which kind of mentions a bit more about that search. This is at this time from Sky News, of course, another one of the media, right? Okay, Sky News. Material collected, so this is from 25th of May. Material collected in Madeleine McCann reservoir search to be sent to Germany for testing. Police from Portugal, Germany, and the UK spent 3 days searching a reservoir and surrounding scrubland for new evidence. And then we move on. It comes as the operation ended with tents being taken down and heavy machinery removed. Officers had been searching the reservoir and surrounding scrubland in the Algarve after receiving certain tip-offs, quote unquote. It's not yet known if anything significant was found in Portugal, but a number of bags were taken away. Police said the search resulted in the collection of some material that will be subject to the competent expertise and that it would be handed over to the German authorities. And these are some images of the search. Holes believed to have been dug for soil samples were found in the search area when it reopened. A police boat entered the water at the Arad Dam on the first day of the search on Tuesday, and teams began to dig on a peninsula on Wednesday afternoon. A source close to the investigation said there was nothing to report after the search, which involved cutting back a vast area of undergrowth and using rakes and pickaxes as well as sniffer dogs. German prosecutor Christian Walters added, "Of course, there is a certain expectation, but it is not high." He said it was important to show that authorities were investigating the case. The reservoir is about 31 miles from where Madeleine went missing. Of course, we are still looking for the body, prosecutor Mr. Walters said. We are not just looking for that, of course. There are other things too. Any discovery of clothing could help the investigation. So, okay. So as you can see, they've done their search. Although this area was searched before, they've conducted the search again, and what a surprise for the results. If you are not aware of the results, let me get on to the next article. This time is from Metro, but I'm quite sure that, these results and these news are in different media outlets out there, all over the place. Results of Madeleine McCann Dam search offer no new clues. What a surprise there. Items found by police in the search for new evidence in the Madeleine McCann's case are said to have not thrown up any new clues. German prosecutors are said to have hit a roadblock, it has been reported. Police have spent the last 2 weeks analyzing items discovered during the search. None of the items can yet be linked with the investigation into the missing girl's disappearance. So basically, so this article is actually from 25th of June, so not so long ago, if you can see. So basically, this was a complete waste of time, resources, and money, which could have very well been spent elsewhere. But it seems that German prosecutors are so fixated on pinning this on Christian Brueckner that they are just willing to do everything and anything. And I'm wondering what those tip-offs are and from who, right? Yeah, it just seems like, don't you give up already, But no, apparently not. Then, in April, so we are going back from May to April. So it's kind of like 16th of March, we have the young woman claiming to be Madeleine McCann. At the end of March, we have the request for funding. Then, in April, Christian Brueckner was on trial for sex offenses which were unrelated to the Madeleine McCann investigation. This trial was actually cancelled in Germany, which kind of coincides with the later May search of the dam. Again, they are trying to find things to pin it on him. From my point of view, so Christian Brueckner, the trial is cancelled. Let's have a look at the article. Sex offenses trial of Madeleine McCann suspect cancelled in Germany. This is 20th of April 2023, the article. A German court has decided not to hear a sex offense case against the prime suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann on the grounds that the region where it is located is not the last place he lived in Germany. Christian Brueckner was charged last year by German prosecutors in Brunswick with 3 offenses of aggravated rape of women and 2 offenses of sexual abuse of children. The offenses took place in Portugal between December 2000 and July 2017. They are not linked to Madeleine's disappearance. The regional tribunal in Brunswick, North Germany, said on Thursday he had decided he was not competent to hear the case against him because this last known address in Germany was in another state. Despite the court's decision, Brunswick prosecutor's office said it would continue investigations related to Madeleine's case. Prosecutors would also carefully examine the reasons given by the court and probably take the decision to appeal, the spokesperson for Brunswick's prosecutor, Hans Christian Wolters, added. Brueckner's lawyer, Frederick Fulcher, argued that on the basis of the court's decision, the Brunswick justice system is also not competent in the Maddie case. So that's that for Christian Brueckner. And even though that's that for him, and even though the charges for this trial had absolutely nothing to do with the Madeleine McCann's investigation, he is in the headlines linked with the Madeleine McCann investigation. Why? I don't know. You guys let me know. Why do you think? Hi, Geraldine. I don't know when they will get fed up with that. So that happened in April. And then after April, in May, we have the dam search. So the reservoir search in Portugal at the request of the German police conducted by German, British, and Portuguese police. So having read this throughout this time, the question kept on going, in my mind. Why? Why is it still going on in the media? To what extent? Then, very recently, I found out that it seems Netflix and Amazon, they are actually working on documentaries. Channel 5 had a documentary, BBC had a documentary. There were a lot of documentaries out there, but the most recent ones will be by Netflix and Amazon. I found another news article. Geraldine is saying, hi Kat, they won't let go of their Patsy. No, they won't. To what extent? I have no idea. I don't know. I'm surprised that Christian Brueckner didn't take any legal action against them. I don't know if he can do that whilst he's in prison, but if I would be him, I would definitely do it because his name has been tarnished from the beginning. And although, yes, he has done his crimes and, all those things, he has not been, there is no evidence that he was involved in Madeleine McCann's disappearance. Over all this time, yet news articles are still linking him to the Madeleine McCann disappearance, even though the article itself doesn't even mention anything about Madeleine McCann. So my guess is that it's for the visibility, for higher engagement, because the first thing that you see online is the headline before you go and actually read the article. So, you know, the media has to gain from it as well. And she stays in the media. The Madeleine McCann disappearance stays in the media, which can help with funding and funding requests and funding approvals and so on. Hi, Evian. Christian Brueckner is the scapegoat. The McCanns are money, 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 end of. They are to blame. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with that view, yes. He's the scapegoat, and I think so as well, and he's been that for a very long time. What I'm surprised about is that he hasn't taken any kind of measure, any kind of action. But like I said, I'm not sure if he can do that whilst he's in prison. I don't know. I don't know. But moving on to my kind of, if you will, to consider it a timeline, right? September, which was just, it's still September. We are still in September. So this is the latest one. And I'm going to read the article and show you as well. So it was this article was actually written 3 days ago. Yeah, 3 days ago. Right. Exclusive. So 20th of September, exclusive Netflix and Amazon showdown as they produce rival Madeleine McCann documentaries. The streaming giants Netflix and Amazon are plowing millions of pounds into the shows which will delve into the background of Madeleine McCann's suspect Christian Brueckner. The streaming giants, I'm going to carry on. Production crews have spent the summer in Germany, where Christian Brueckner grew up and committed some of his vile crimes. Those interviewed include prosecutor Hans Christian Walters, who is heading the ongoing probe into Brueckner. Netflix landed a worldwide smash hit in 2019 when the series The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann aired. Now it's set for an unprecedented ratings war with Amazon with their rival Brueckner documentaries. Amazon producers are understood to have interviewed a woman who claims the German raped her in Portugal. BBC bosses have also given the green light for a panorama show investigating the case. Brueckner is being probed by German detectives over Madeleine's disappearance. Brueckner was already awaiting trial in Brunswick, accused of rapes and child sex assaults committed in Portugal, but the charges were dropped earlier this year after a court ruling over which German region had jurisdiction. So, hi Jigsy Wigsy. So, this is the latest. So what do you guys think? Why do you think that Madeleine McCann was in the news lately from the beginning of the year? I personally believe it had something to do with the McCanns getting more funding and also with the promotion of these documentaries because they will make money, right? You heard what I just read, that that prosecutor in Germany, he will appear on the show, in the documentary. I've also read another article where Robert Murat will also appear. So again, there is money to be made there. So I think that all of these things happening now, one after another, they are very coincidental. Very coincidental. It kind of boils down to get the most exposure you can for more money using Madeleine McCann's disappearance. Because all of us know that a lot of people are invested in Madeleine McCann's disappearance, and headline after headline. Now you have TikTok as well. TikTok is very popular. It's everywhere on TikTok. That's how this girl who was pretending to be Madeleine McCann actually became noticed. I'm saying actually became noticed because I think that there is much more at play there. And I think that there's something else going on. Geraldine is saying, I was hoping they're finally investigating the parents and the Tapa 7. I don't think that's ever going to happen. In my honest opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. Jigsy Wigsy is saying, makes you question why the parents aren't seemingly interested in this aspect. But I think that the media is working for them anyway, and not for them as in, I'm saying is working for them in the sense that with all of the articles that they publish, and also the German prosecutor as well, they are, I don't know, I don't even know what to say. I know it's you because I've recognized your profile picture. I know it's you. I mean, the McCanns, they haven't been really vocal much about Christian Brueckner from the beginning. They were more, over the years, they were more focused on Amaral rather than any kind of suspects. Evian is saying the cadaver dog and blood dog have the evidence. Dogs don't lie. The timing of this farce, other individuals, is as usual a smokescreen. Yes, I agree with you. No, they know what happened to her. Yes. I agree with you guys. I mean, you already know my opinion and my view on this if you've been following me for some time. So this is just another thing. I just wanted to show this to you because I wanted to kind of, you know, hear from you. What do you believe? Why do you believe this is happening now? My guess is it had to do something with the funding, so they get the funding approved, and so it doesn't, you know, because the funding, when they request funding, it's always approved. But then at the same time, it's kind of like a pattern emerging there, as at the same time, there is again a new development in the investigation until they get the funds, and then everything quiets down. And this happened again now with this new funding request. It's probably, the way that I see it, it's probably so that the politicians or whoever, you know, is approving this funding to kind of have a justification for approving it, but only on the surface, so that people don't say, hold on a minute, there's nothing new there, so why would you agree to a funding, right? It's not like it's £1,000 or £10,000. It was again £300,000. What do you need those money for in an investigation which has been going on for more than 15 years and there's absolutely nothing found? So of course that people will start asking questions unless you get to read something in the media or hear something in the media before the funding requests, so to kind of justify that, okay, we will give this funding because you know there are new leads, there's new evidence or whatnot, all these kind of things. And all over this time is the same story, is the same pattern. You only have different characters sometimes, but most of the times you don't. And then towards the end, they still get to the same conclusion that there's nothing new because there won't be anything you found. Vivian is saying, I'm so glad to hear you. Your research is amazing. I watched all of your videos. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your support and thank you for watching me. I've taken a very long break with this lately. But yeah, it is what it is with Madeleine McCann. It's so sad, really, that I don't think we will ever get the truth. I don't think there will ever be anyone who will say, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Someone who was there. I don't think anybody will come forward. My question right now is, I know that the twins, they are 18 now, right? They are over 18 now. So they are, yeah, they are the sister. She's I forgot her name. I'm so bad with remembering names. But the sister, she has been quite vocal. Well, not vocal, but rather in the public eye about Madeleine McCann. Now I'm wondering, are these kids going to read everything in the media? Because up until now, when they were underage, Kate and Jerry McCann were trying to keep them away from the media, away from news articles, away from everything, really. But now they are over 18, so they won't be able to. Kate and Jerry won't be able to control anymore what they hear, what they read, what they you know see. So I'm really curious to know if they believe their parents, but I would assume that they would believe their parents. And I'm really curious if they have read Kate McCann's book, which is another thing because her book was horrendous. It really was. Ah, Jigsy Wigsy, Emily, yes, Emily, yes. I've seen when they were doing this Remember Us thing, I think it was. I've seen her in the media. I've seen her photo in a news article. Emily and what's his name? I forgot his name as well. See? I have to refresh my memory on so many things. Um, Sean? Is he Sean and Emily? Sean? No. Is it? I'm not sure. Yeah, Sean. Yes. Thank you, Jixie, for your help. So, yeah, I don't think in our lifetime we'll ever find out. Well, we do have suspicions, of course, but I don't think there will ever be someone who will say, yes, this is what happened. I'm just wondering, after reading all of these news articles over this couple of months and the timeline that I gave you, I'm just wondering if, like you said, the smoke screen, but I'm wondering what's behind the smoke screen. Is it to do with the funding and the documentary, or is something bigger at play here? I'm not sure. Jigsy saying the DNA could be retested, but it would never be, probably accidentally lost. Like so many things, isn't it? Just like discrediting the dog's evidence found. They're very good at these things. They pretty much try to discredit everything. And they went on a campaign of discrediting even the Portuguese police just for the sake of kind of showing to the world that they are incompetent. That's a very cunning thing to do, but they've done it, and it kind of worked in a lot of people's eyes. Evian is saying, I followed this case from the very start. My daughter was born in June 2007 and has been with me every day since. I think the bigger picture is very deep. I have to agree with that, yeah. And then now, thinking overall, not necessarily the Madeleine McCann investigation, now we also have, which I'm sure you've heard about or read about, Russell Brand. Now, I don't know the guy. I never liked the guy and I never really followed him. But again, I have another question. He's all over the place. So, what's cooking behind this smoke screen? Something is not right. I'm not saying he did it or he didn't do it. I'm not saying anything because I didn't really do any kind of research into this and I'm not planning to, but the way I see it, Lately, he's been talking against the establishment, against governments, politicians, and all these kind of things. And it kind of seems like coincidental that now everybody comes forward with all of these allegations. So, something else is going on there, I'm sure. Anyway, guys, I think it's my time to go. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and have a lovely weekend ahead of you. And I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye.